interested in general investment in public transport in Victoria, and there's an analysis of data from federal budgets shows that Victoria seems to be being shortchanged compared with the other states, that over the last 5 years we've only had about $82 per person, less than 1/3 of the national per person average of $257. And that most of that money has just been the reallocation, or the money that we've been getting for transport in general has been the reallocation of the East-West Link money. So, I mean, what's going on for funding for Victorian infrastructure? Why is it at such a low level, given that Victoria is the fastest growing state in the country?
I think that it's very important to recognise, as we've discussed previously, that Commonwealth infrastructure funding is not allocated on a per capita basis. It is based on projects which meet national thresholds. Quite clearly, I think on the current program, with the agreed expenditure on the reallocation of the 1.5 billion the Commonwealth had prepaid for the East-West, I think if we were to look at splits, Victoria currently has in the program around 15% of the national investment program over the program years. If the $3 billion of contingency was added in, which is the Commonwealth's commitment to the East-West, that lifts Victoria to well over 20% of the national funding. But it's very much driven by projects, and quite clearly.
So is it the case that Victoria haven't been putting the projects in? Is that what's been going on?
No, as I said, where we've been able to reach agreements, such as on the $3 billion investment program, which Minister Chester and Minister Allen signed off on late last year, the Commonwealth and Victorian Government are working very well in relation to those projects, and the Commonwealth has made additional commitments last year on projects like Monash and other projects where we are working with Victoria, the M80 for instance. We're currently undertaking 2 pieces of further work with Victoria, one of which is some further rail studies which were announced in the election campaign. The second major piece of work is the commitment to work with Victoria on the North East Road Link. That planning work is now underway with Victoria. That's, as you know, a very large, considerable project, which is one of the next major projects for Victoria. So that works in train. So it's not a case of projects not coming forward. Where we've been able to agree and there's an alignment between the governments, then Victoria has been funded for projects that meet our thresholds.
So with the projects that are underway, do you feel that there will be sufficient investment so that there will be enough so that Victoria will catch up on the underfunding of Victorian projects that has been experienced?
Well, I think we can argue about the underfunding issue, but the reality is that I think there's a very strong program in Victoria, and as we're seeing, Victoria certainly on infrastructure is certainly the industry is now doing very well in a number of projects in the market, and there's a good pipeline of projects coming forward, including the $3 billion agreed by the ministers towards the end of last year.
Okay, is the federal government looking at putting any further funding into the Melbourne Metro rail tunnel?
No, Senator. Victoria has announced it will fund that project itself.
So in terms then of federal funding towards public transport projects in Victoria, it seems that there's a real gap then, because that's been the only, if you look at the infrastructure Australia priority projects, high priority projects, that was the only public transport project that's being looked at.
And as you see, it's progressing with Victorian government funding. The Commonwealth is looking for other options for future funding. In the MyEFO statement in December, the Commonwealth earmarked a further $877 million, which is the asset recycling contribution to Victoria. We're now engaged in discussions with Victoria about the optimum projects to which that investment can go.
What sort of projects are you looking at? You're in discussion with Victoria?
We are talking to them about a number of regional and metropolitan rail projects which could be funded.
Can you name those, what they are?
They're not at this stage at a sufficiently advanced stage, Senator, where I could give you an indication. That we've certainly sought from Victoria opportunities to improve the regional Victorian rail network. Quite clearly there are areas there where the Commonwealth would want to see enhancement of both passenger and freight. And as you'll be
So
aware-
regional rather than Melbourne projects? Are you
that's correct, but
are you
also
looking at other Melbourne projects such as the Melton electrification? Would that be one of them?
it's not one that Victoria's raised with us at this stage, but clearly in the past Victoria have raised the upgrade of the Pakenham-Cranbourne line and services along that line. So there is a process underway at the moment with the Victorian Government around the allocation of that $877 million.
Okay.